Size matters. Happy Pride, y'all.
Happy Pride.
Alright, I'm going to be reading, I do have books for sale if people are interested, but I'm going to be reading all new shit. Alright, this is from a manuscript I have in progress titled The Art Show, tentatively, and it's kind of where rock and art intersect, or don't. Bowie's bitch. I was Bowie's bitch. I saw what his crotch could do in Labyrinth. I absorbed his queerness, reflected it back stronger. I dyed my hair red and became an alien for a decade. Most people could not understand me, but that was okay. I was Bowie's bitch. I used my unconventional face, my unlovable body to project phantasmagoric fashion fantasies. I read esoteric texts and used computer-generated verse to explicate my position of being Bowie's bitch. The man who fell to earth and fucked a rock star, singing along to Martha and the Vandellas. I aerosoled cryptic, apocalyptic graffiti on people's souls. I stretched and grew as an artist, even when I would not allow myself the grace to change. I was mutable because I was Bowie's bitch. I stretched and tried to do his bidding that was really my own, since I appropriated him to my own ends. I shapeshifted like him, like Madonna. I walked and talked an MTV revolution, yet my parents forbade me to watch it. I cannot remember when I became fascinated by Bowie's codpiece, but I coveted it. I imbibed his leonine features, his otherworldliness, and kept it in check until puberty. I had his confidence for a few years until life stuffed it down and made me forget I was Bowie's bitch. I don't forget anymore. And as much as I love him, it's time to be my own femme butch bitch. Yeah, in this manuscript and others I've been writing lately, I've been fucking like fictional and real life people but that I never met, so this one's in that series. I fucked Keith Haring before the art show. He makes the best carrot cake. Maplethorpe 2. Theses nailed to the wall. Pretentious critiques with buzzwords. An artist's brushstroke is like a drummer's brushstroke. I forgot what they taught us in college, something about what's the pointillism. I cried when I saw Seurat in Chicago. I smiled at Haring. I went, ouch, at Maplethorpe. At least they are all aesthetic responses. This one was a real person I had sex with, but he thought he was a rock star, though he really wasn't, but he kind of looked like one. Rock and roll star did not want to use a condom, but I insisted. He wasn't quite Hall & Oates. Looked like one half of a lesser 70s pop group, a yacht rock one for sure. Jasmine, patchouli smell, high anytime after 5 vibe. We scheduled our fuck. I think he marked me X in his BlackBerry. This dates it a little. The sex was perfunctory, like a skinny line of cocaine. It got you there but didn't leave extra. I loved his mustache and small size 7 feet though. I bounced out, never feeling more like an 8-track. Obsolete and secondary. Something you cannot quite throw away, thinking it will come back in style. Actually, that was more him than me. This one's a little bit different. It's titled The Fall of Gettysburg. Do boys still fall and die in Gettysburg? Jury-rigged guns out of sticks. Run pickets charge down the field, scattering stunned wildlife. Claim each tufted tumulus as their own. Someone told me that reenactors piss on uniform buttons to age them, to dull the gloss of history, I reckon. Yes, we have even romanticized this war. Gone with the wind, swoon dips, extras upon extras, extremities hid from the lens. Confederate flags flew in my hometown, on mud flaps or on Jeff Davis's highways. Route 1 leads straight to Richmond, some would say hell, but it has a good rock scene. And I walked past a movie set there, not a war film, yet a violent one, Hannibal. We have wandered far from the topic, as we often do when we talk politics, race, sex, other dinner party taboo subjects. Our scout troop battled each other in that place, or at a nearby campground, capture the flag or smear the queer, military exercises before Don't Ask, Don't Tell, when stores still sold Civil War figurines. Blue or gray, you could make a colorblind choice then without much judgment. I am glad blue is my favorite color. It saved me more than once. Mosquitoes nipped my ankles, grass scratched the gap between my khakis and the fat tan leg I used to run away from conflict. My mind camera frames the meadow befogged as if the sun's illumination has not yet reached its stillness. Our country is presently unclear whether to capitalize on or apologize for the suffering it caused. America has always existed as this figurative painting on a cracked wall, a crafty artifice about to be torn asunder, prettifying the most capital waste of democratic values. Thank you. Butterflies find nectar anywhere, among uninteresting weeds, atop rusting Sprite cans, on spaghetti-strapped shoulders. Their colors and patterns mimic imagination itself. Their fluttering matches our uncertainty. Their lightness our underexposed youth. Foreshortened, sprinting lifespan, like how our memories end up as a chaotic movie reel or simply a montage of a favorite summer. Butterflies pack more joy, more experience during their shimmering, peripatetic flight path than we ever could. My husband Phil is British, so last year we took a tour through England and Wales, and we stopped in the ugliest city in Britain, which is Gloucester. But we did stay at a hotel where Lady Jane Grey, do y'all know who she is? She was queen for 9 days, because they didn't want Mary Queen of Scots, who was Catholic, to be queen. So this was like the hotel, or whatever it was at the time, where she announced her queendom. That lasted all of 9 days. So a little bit of history. British holiday with 2 drunks. The couple with a history of cigarettes and morning pub drinks, classist fantasy of Rorschach ink spots on skin, vocal cords hoarse from living each future possibility, a rerun, an oft-repeated tale, stale laugh track, they met your favorite rock star back when. The couple with Billy Idol MTV eyes, mascara just shy of poet-worthy, a decade or more spent out in the mizzle, dreams melting into patterns told to a tattoo artist, their word made flesh, their skin one sanctified. I sit in judgment, although I don't mean to. The sadness just juts into my holiday. But aren't all holidays just a bit sad? You look forward to them, but as you are living through them, you feel a sudden urge for home or quietude. Not drunks pissing in the loo right off this medieval courtyard, where Lady Jane Grey started her 9-day queendom, and my husband and I, 2 queens, are unimpressed. Y'all know who Fred Schneider is from the B-52s? I hope so. Fred Schneider. I cannot forgive myself. Once, this tall, cute indie boyfriend of my neighbor told me he wanted to form a B-52s cover band with me as Fred Schneider, because I was as gay as shit, his words. Instead of being flattered, I was ashamed, as if gay as shit was a bad thing. It was the 90s. I'll never make that mistake again. Hurry up, tall, cute indie boyfriend of my neighbor, and bring me your jukebox money. I'll shake my love shack for your straight desire. I read at a Yeats event hosted by James Feichthaler yesterday, and it was a lovely event. But at this Irish bar, it's like a very quintessential Irish bar. And I've struggled as a gay man. Like, Irish bars are like, not Fergie's, not, somewhere around Philly necessarily, but when I was younger, definitely like the most homophobic places on earth. So, like, just going to this bar kind of like spurred memory, so it wasn't this bar experience, but just the idea of Irishness and faux Irishness and all that. A gay man walks into an Irish bar. A chapel with its consecration of long-dead Irishmen, Bobby Sands and various Kennedys, Fenian smells mixed with tweed caps, Guinness pelicans and bodhrans on the walls, unpronounceable road signs for authenticity, all visions of my cultural heritage plopped down in the middle of New Jersey, the Ireland I was nostalgic for, especially when I was a child, a state of mind that lessened as I realized the Catholic Church, That bedrock of air wanted no part of me in its myth-making. I leaned into a new identity as I kept the pogues and soda bread. The bar is called Tir na Nog, or Land of the Young, an afterlife of a legendary culture that never was, half river dance, half iconography, swallows me. The bar is so dark I cannot see out, my Fido so far behind me. Yet I've come home, battered and bruised, raped and abused, as the Pogues would say, but still Irish, not Catholic, but pagan. Thank you. This poem is for Joe. I think you like this one. The Spot Where Trotsky Died. There's a communist gift shop near the spot where Trotsky died. I bought an apple soda, yards from the spot where Trotsky died. The carbolic soap boxes remain unopened in the bunker mansion where Trotsky died. I wonder how often he and Frida Kahlo fucked in the bed where Trotsky died. Bored students cast shadows at the spot where Trotsky died. I read about his superhuman strength on the walls at the museum where Trotsky died. Tourists take smiling selfies at the precise spot where Trotsky died. I contemplate whether communism could have ever succeeded viewing the spot where Trotsky died through my camera. All I could frame at the spot where Trotsky died was a shivering and utterly collapsible man. No ideological stance could spare him. At the spot where Trotsky died, I renounced any kind of identification. I think he would have wanted it that way. And that place is in Mexico City in a lovely neighborhood called Coyoacán, and it's literally like 2 or 3 blocks from the Casa Azul, Museo de Frida Kahlo, and it's like really interesting. And he chose that location so they could carry on their affair, because it was like 2 blocks away. There you know. Hopper Woman. Do you guys know Edward Hopper, the painter? Yeah. My favorite painter, okay. She lived her life off-center. The prominent position stolen by flowers or a New York socialite. She was Roosevelt Island, suspended between larger entities and endless commerce, an emotionless zombie during the day, self-contained like a product placement housewife in an advertisement, nudity visible through sheer clothes provided by Eddie. Air conditioning did not exist in her pre-war apartment. There was no fear of catching a chill outside her icy demeanor. She materialized outside her eggshell white apartment at night. What a different city with stark, sharp-lined citizenry lurking. No one cared about her nothingness, since they were also nothingness themselves. They waited with cold coffees for lovers who would never come. They were served slices of inedible pie. At least her hats were on trend. No. I couldn't possibly climb up to the roof and get lost jumping through various geometries, she whispered to the pretend suitor on her left. She never stared at his Hollywood reflection in the polished chrome. She never lost her reserve or cool aesthetic. Her former passionate nature condensed to pocketbook receipts. She had to contend with posterity. She always knew her afterlife didn't belong to herself. It belonged in reproductions on otherwise barren walls. She was content to be commercialized, as long as her soul was left out of the deal. Thank you. Happy Pride, everyone. I don't think I said it at the beginning. If I did, I'm saying it again. Happy Pride. These last 3 poems are from like a manuscript I'm working on called Headless. And this poem is based on my favorite poet, Sylvia Plath. Nice. And it was in the Sylvia Plath anthology. It's after Ariel, the title poem of Ariel. I haven't ridden Ariel, but I've ridden suicidal desire, broke the bared back of the patriarchy, jellied the sneers, bent the iron jeers to my will, hard thighs quivering, I pen to silence men who make horse sounds, all whip, no carrot, childless, loverless, I cleave sky, blue space where soul escapes body, envenomed wraith spearheading the storm, cumulonimbus gown, cut on the bias, diaphanous forsaken flesh, spirited stanzas all, I ring them in, muzzle falsities, strip language, that diseased bark cradling armored beetles, scorpion-tailed, catamite powerful, I puncture myth, upturned helmet rests, headless. And since I used this word, I think Sean Lynch, the poet, used Catamite once in a poem, and I was like, okay, I have to write a poem about a Catamite. Catamite.
What is it? What is the Catamite? Yeah.
It's usually the younger lover, like, you know, in ancient Greece or ancient Rome, there was an older man and a younger man. Often that was the only arrangement that could be arranged, and the younger man had to be from a lower class than the older man, and also had to be the one who was penetrated. So a Catamite was the younger lover, often. The penetrated one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Gay history. Pride Month. Catamite. It's about the fluidity surrounding your masculinity, accepting society's bottoming, inhaling your lover's burps and snores, lying on the bed edge of convention, a delicious taboo, a great burst in the mouth, wine approximate. The fermented smell occludes all judgment, the smell of something ruined, the rotting of an overripe spring, a fetid armpit graze. Daydream delaying a trip to Zeus's temple, attempting to fill in his imprint in the straw made with God-sized hands. He will grow to barter me away. His status requires a wife. I will inflame his reincarnation until my face furrows into stone. An altar unattended crumbles. Last poem, I'm gonna leave you with having sex, fucking, one of my favorite poets, Wilfred Owen. Last night I fucked Wilfred Owen's ghost. He's one of the World War I poets. So, just only slightly before my time, because I'm 106 years old. He looked so compact in his uniform, this old soul who looked as if he spent his youthful energies elsewhere, breaking the hearts of battalions. With that bashful smile and roguish Welsh grin, his eyes dreamed of adjectives to describe my body as he was fucking me gently, since he tired of Warcraft and the sudden pounding of the brutish sort. We would have died happily if we had been killed in the foxhole by a casual yet deadly accurate shelling. We talked about Keats and politics, savoring the post-coital cigarette cliche. What is sex but the longest-running cliche? I knew he would be killed on the morrow, right before the white flags were raised. He would relish the poetic irony. I would mourn the poetic injustice. He took my unshaved face in his hands and said, at least we had this idol. I cried as the better poet left my bed. Thank you.